Hello, everyone. Welcome to MS Confidential, a monthly webcast series consisting of candid conversations on navigating the chaos of living with multiple sclerosis. My name is Lisa Foote, and my role here today is just to help with any questions you may want to ask our panelists. So please feel free to place questions in the chat box, which we're going to answer during the Q&A in about 20 or 25 minutes. Now, because this conversation that the panelists are going to have is meant to be raw, unfiltered, candid, all of the above, it also means there might be some colorful language used and it could get intense at times, but we'll see. My guess is that based on the topic tonight, it will get a little colorful. So tonight's topic is all about the effects MS has had on the various relationships of our four panelists, who are Elizabeth Jamison, Annie Brewster, Kyle Cronick, and Jessica Oler. Now, before we get started with the conversation, I'd like each of our panelists to introduce themselves briefly. So, Annie, why don't you go ahead and start?
Sure. So thanks everyone for tuning in. My name's Annie Brewster. I have been living with MS since 2001, so 20 years now. And I feel like I've been pretty lucky in that my symptoms have been somewhat manageable, very manageable. And for me, the struggle really is around the unknown, what's to come, and sort of the invisible nature of the illness and the toll it takes on my psyche, which sort of relates to tonight's topic. I'm also a doctor, so I've sort of looked at MS from the other side, or just from illness in general from the other side of the table, which is interesting to me, sitting on both sides. So that's all I'll say for now. And I'm going to pass it over to Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Jamison, and I'm so glad you're here with us, watching us, listening to us. And I have chronic progressive disease, and I am in a wheelchair, and I'm a quadriplegic, which I think you can see that, but it defines the whole discussion about relationships being so impaired. That's it. Kyle?
Hey there, I am Kyle Cronick. I am 31 years old, and I've been managing primary progressive multiple sclerosis for 10 years now. I'm excited about this topic tonight, so let's hear it, Jessica.
My name is Jessica Oler. I was diagnosed with MS in 2012. My experience has been crazy. I'm technically diagnosed with the relapsing remitting form of MS.
Thanks, everybody. Relationships are so big and so broad. And, despite how old you are or what kind of life you live, we all have relationships that change, that may disappear. But I know with a chronic illness, it just adds another layer. And I know that in many people's relationships that they've had, sometimes things have come as a surprise in the way that they've changed. And I'm just curious if there's anything that you all have experienced, and anybody can jump in at any time, where once you were diagnosed and somebody in your life knew about it, did anything take you by surprise in the way the relationship transformed or shifted?
Absolutely. I was married to this woman, and she will never admit to this ever. But I believe she left because of the progression I saw with my MS. She blamed it on me being bisexual. Like I said, she'll never admit that it was my health. But I think that was big reason for my divorce. So major relationship changes there.
How are you carrying that now? That seems like a really major occurrence.
I'm so glad that it happened. At first, it really just upended my world that was already being upended by this condition. But I like this quote that I hear thrown around a lot within the MS community. Strangers become friends, and friends become strangers. Like I've never met any of y'all, but I consider you friends. And then people from my past that I used to consider friends are not in my life. They're strangers now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
with the divorce, I'm so glad it happened.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's like changed you, just kind of how you move in the world? Maybe that question's kind of obvious, like water is wet. I'm
Uh,
just curious.
I feel like the process was empowering because when that relationship ended, I didn't think that I could do this by myself.
Right.
Like, there's no way I can do this by myself.
Yeah.
So it must have like sucked originally, but now it's empowering, right? So talk
Yeah.
about that, like that low point, because I think we've all been there, and that's hard to
Mhm.
be in that low place. But what was that like?
Yeah. It was really scary. A lot of dark nights. I say my dogs got me through it, and so many friendships that I cultivated during that time really
Yeah.
just got me through it.
Hmm.
I think it's cool that, other relationships helped you get through that, right? You sort of sought out the friendships you said helped you get through. So
Yeah, like some neighbors that I had met just a couple months before, they kind of took me in. I feel like I had dinner with them every night, and I was part of the family.
that's cool.
It was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
There is a lot of kindness in the world. I feel like with all like the shitty experiences that can happen and like the shitty feelings and the fear. But I will say, in relation to what you said last, there's a lot of people who are just they're just kind, and it makes all of this easier. Those moments are like this very soft touch to this very harsh reality.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it is sort of clarifying. It's like you said, Kyle. I don't remember. I can't repeat the exact quote, but like friends become not friends. Whatever you said, it's true. It's sort of like you sift through like this experience forces the issue of like who's
Mhm.
really there and who's not really there, and who
Exactly.
matters, who doesn't, and that's ultimately a good thing. But it's not easy.
yeah.
What I find people who have disabilities, whether they're diabetic or um, um, other types of chronic illness, we've become instant friends
Yeah.
because we spell each other out. Like if you're really disabled, you see somehow you find them, and I've had such instant love affairs um, just by striking up random conversations.
Mhm.
Especially when I'm when I'm always in my wheelchair, but when I'm out and about and there's another person in a wheelchair, they smile at me. Oh, let's have coffee.
Oh yeah.
Just very nice. And in terms of kindness, I find people are incredibly kind to me.
Yeah.
In my just am amazed at the kindness of people. But on the other hand, and when they're so kind to me, sometimes I'm the elephant in the room. Like I don't want to be the center of attention.
Mm.
But
That's fair.
but the good part is people are very kind.
Yeah.
You know what I think of, Elizabeth, when you say that about like, instant connections?
Mm.
I feel like for me, I have struggled a lot over the years, I think, with keeping myself separate in a way. So I think when you're able to experience those instant connections, it speaks to your ability in some way to accept where you are and let that connection form. And I think for me, fear kept me apart for a long time. Like I really rejected and I'm still in process with that, like my identity as someone with MS. And that's why I love being a part of this forum, because it actually really helps me.
Yeah.
Because I sort of, even though I've been sort of delving into how do people integrate illness into their life in my work, I myself personally have not fully stepped into myself as I am a person with MS and I am part of this community. And I've kept myself separate in a way, in part because I've been able to, because I have been able to hide my disease because my disabilities are
Right.
minimal. And but I also think, to me, that is something I strive to be able to step more into, because I think it will make me feel better and more whole and allow those relationships to form. But I think that I haven't had that experience of like those instant connections, because I've been keeping myself separate based on fear of like not wanting to accept myself, I'd say, if that makes sense.
Is the idea of a hidden disability that
Yeah.
you can hide. With me, no, I'm so valve in the room. Everyone knows I'm horribly disabled. So
Yeah,
we're
me
the
too.
opposite.
I'm the same way. I don't see anybody. I don't have those instant connections because I don't see anybody like me. I don't see young people with walkers or canes or wheelchairs. Or it's always me struggling to get my walker out of the car.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's different, like from like I'm able to hide it, you're not, but you're just not finding those people that have that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a smaller town than San Francisco.
Right.
So I'm sure I'd see much more of a community. And I feel like the disabled community, we just hide from public sight generally.
Yes.
A lot of people do.
It's like this constant, since the topic is relationships, it's like us relating to ourselves, kind of what Annie was speaking to, or not kind of, directly what Annie was speaking to. I can very much relate to that. Like this push-pull thing. MS is rendered invisible in our experience, so people wouldn't know unless we said, hi, I have multiple sclerosis. But you have MS and you want to step away from it, but then you want to step forward because you feel this disconnect.
Right.
And then how everyone else treats you. It's like this, maybe not a dichotomy because it's more layered than that, but it's this constant process of relating that continues to happen. And it's like nonstop.
I can relate to that like push-pull thing.
Yeah.
And it's so layered, because even if I'm doing it invisibly, I'm still doing it. So like,
Absolutely.
as we're talking about relationships, I'll say, like, in my marriage, for instance, I don't talk about it a lot. And my husband doesn't talk about it a lot. It doesn't come up a lot, in part because I'm sort of like, I just want to push forward and not have it define me. But a couple of times he has said to me, like, and he means well, but he'll say, you seem so fine. Sometimes I forget that you have MS. And that pisses me off. But then I also realize that, like, I have to step back and think, like, what am I really asking for? I guess I'm asking for a hard thing. Like, I want you to treat me totally like it's not an issue, but yet I want you never to forget it. You know what I mean? It's like, if that makes sense. And I want both of those things. I do.
Drives me crazy. Like, I'm very much single. Like, there's someone, I'm not married. Let's just say that. Like, that would just irritate the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like, I just got irritated. I was in a happy mood, team. Like, that's irritating. That's irritating to me.
Yeah.
Like, we're all individuals in this world, right? But I feel like, at least for me in my experience, I do a lot of work of being like, oh, I won't say that because this person is in their own world and they don't have MS and they're experiencing this stressor. So therefore, I'll make sure I'll say this nicely or I won't say anything so they will be comfortable. Oh my gosh. I'm going to pull out my afro. That's wild. That's an exhausting reality because I've experienced similar things like that where someone very close to you says something, either that specifically or something like adjacent, and it's like, that is so insulting.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Challenging to navigate. What'd you say?
So that was fucked up.
It is, but I
Am
also
I?
like I want to make the point though, like I am taking some personal responsibility for that. Like I am saying, like I'm sending out the message all the time, like I don't want to fucking talk about it. I'm fine.
Annie, it's all your fault. I know it's all your fault.
I know, right? I mean, I'm just trying to own my part. It did piss me off though. It does.
But I mean, and I actually understand what you're saying on part of like the owning your part of it. I understand that, like theoretically, and from like a young woman who also has, like I get that. Like, oh, well, I didn't tell them. For example, my parents, and I know why, my parents did not watch the project with Harvard. They did not watch, they didn't listen to the stories. And that tore me apart. And what's my point? Sorry, my mind always goes blank. It made me upset because I'm just like, you're my parents. Like, first of all, it's like a big deal, it's like a Harvard thing and all this writing. And it's a moment. But they didn't watch it because it's hard to watch. And I'm thinking, I know that, but I'm your daughter. This is the relationship. This is what we're doing. Like, it's hard for you. Well, think about how hard it is for me as you continue to like be there because you're my parents and you love me and you hate the fact that I have MS because I'm your daughter and it's scary and it's hard, but it's like, it's severing. I say, no, I actually feel very alone. I very much carry MS by myself. Then they get confused. Why would you say that? Because you get to step away.
Did you tell them that it upset you?
I actually did. It took me a minute because I was just like, this is a clear example of why I feel alone. Mm-hmm. Like, take off the whole Harvard thing. It's like the point, like, this is like a big deal. Like, your daughter, like, know about it. Like, see me, hear me, relate to me, like, understand more for the sake of yourself, for the sake of me, for the sake of us in this parent-child relationship, even though I'm an adult.
Good for you.
I'm sorry.
No, but how'd they respond? Because that's awesome that you were able to say that.
Actually, I called my mom and it was a productive conversation. Like, it wasn't aggressive. And I told her, it's like, it really hurt that, you and dad didn't take the time to at least listen to my like 15-minute moment, like that genuinely like hurt me. This is a clear example of why your adult daughter, feels like she carries it alone. Mm-hmm. I understand that you're like, this is hard to handle. I get that. I'm not minimizing that reality, but I'm like, well, bad shit happens sometimes. And you're lucky you get to run away.
Yep. I feel that so hard because we're talking about relationship with the parents. My dad, I doubt he would ever watch something like this. I haven't seen my dad in 4 years now.
Wow.
He's been up here. I remember the day I was preliminarily diagnosed with MS. I was in Walmart parking lot. I was sobbing. I was on the phone talking to my dad, and I was begging him to come up here. That was 10 years ago. He's been up here once in 10 years, and that was for my wedding.
Yeah.
But he has. It's so bizarre that MS has done this to our relationship. We used to have a great relationship, me and my dad, all through my childhood up until I moved up here to Asheville.
Yeah.
And now he, like, I am not a part of his life. And it's so bizarre. It's so hard to deal with.
How does MS have to do with your relationship?
He can't deal with it. He, just like Jessica was saying, like he stays in Florida, stays away. He doesn't want to see this shit because it is difficult to watch.
Yeah.
It is fucked up, and I'm so grateful for my mama. Thank you, mama. Love you. She's been my biggest advocate since day one. So thank goodness she's just less than an hour away. I see her all the time. So it's wild how the relationship with my dad just fell off, and the relationship with my mom went the other way.
So hard though, so hard.
It is so hard.
And like, how do we like deal with people that disappoint us like that? And is it like, especially if it's like your dad, like, can you keep loving them?
I've spoken up. I've said that. I've said this hurts. Like it really affects my self-worth. Like, what do you really just not give a shit? Because I think help here.
I know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know him from Adam, but I bet he gives a shit, but he just can't do it. But
he just can't deal with it. He just throws money at the situation, which money helps, but that's not what I'm asking for. Like, you can give me $10 million. I still want a relationship with my father.
Yeah. I think it's good that you use your voice because, again, like it seems like in relation to this relationships and MS, it's this constant relating to ourselves, as we continue to get older, we're adults, so on and so forth. I think it's good that you use your voice because I guess wouldn't it be contradictory if we didn't tell our parents like, hi, you're so there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
Like at all. You literally don't know what's happening.
Not
you don't. So it's in my mind, the fact that we said at most we said this is an example of why actually, no, to be honest, I know you love me and you care. And I understand that it's like it sucks that your daughter has MS and that's scary and that's fair. And I feel that. To me, I'm like, that simple math, I understand. And also, like, too bad. You can't run away. You're my parent. You shouldn't have kids. So bravo to you for using your voice because at least you did that.
Gotta speak up.
Yeah.
It's true. The thing is like, I guess like what I've learned over the years is like, even if you speak up, some people can only be what they are capable of being. And that's hard to accept sometimes. And even the people that you love the most just are not always capable. And it's sad. But I think, Elizabeth, I want to hear from you because you have more wisdom than all of us.
Speak to it as one.
But like, I know you wrote about your friendship in a New York Times article, I think it was, like, amazing, about intimacy and relationships. And I would love to hear you sort of talk about that and where that is now and what that's like.
Well, I have MS that seems to be constantly moving, but maybe that we all are in the same position. So I'd say with my marriage, it's so hard. I mean, I have a great marriage, but it's a shit show in the sense that we love each other, but boy, do we fight a lot. Do we really fight to be great and maintain an intimate relationship? Because at the time, we hate each other. I'm exaggerating, but my husband feels so depleted by all the demands I place on him. And I feel really badly, but I can't help it. I'm 100% dependent on other people, and but trying to have that dependent relationship and have self-esteem
Hmm.
or feeling like I'm alive is hard. It's hard to. When I got married, we were very independent people. I kept my last name because I'm an independent person, and
Yeah.
I wasn't my husband's last name, Barry. I was my name, Jameson, and it wasn't for feminist reasons. It's just because I wasn't my husband's. I'm not a Barry, and I had an income, I had a career, and now it's so hard to be as maintain equality. I'm so dependent.
Mm.
What I have to ask him to itch my nose, or if I have to blow my nose, all
Mm.
this very intimate stuff that you don't want to ask your husband
Mm.
to do, but he has to. Doesn't have to, but he's kind enough to want to do. That's just hard.
So
It's
hard.
up and down because sometimes he's really sick of me and he hates all the things he has to do. And and I'm a constant demand on him.
Mm.
And I don't like that about it. The romance killer, that's for sure.
I feel like
And
that too.
and it's just the ups and downs and it's just the chaos, the coaster of emotions. And we have a good relationship when we're not fighting. I mean, I'm just saying it's normal fighting. I don't think it's.
No, I think I think fighting can be healthy.
I think
I'm
so.
wondering, I want to understand, like, when you're fighting, Elizabeth, and I know your voice is sometimes hard for you, like, how do you fight? Are you able to, like, I'm just curious because I think it's important. I think it's healthy to fight. Do you
Oh,
fight verbally?
I fight fearlessly. I'm a model. I'm terrible. I just you have to ask my husband to
All
say
right.
I'm.
Answer this. You said like something about like trying to maintain equality. Like, do you feel there are ways? How do you do that? How do you do that? Because I know like like the dependence is so hard. You have the dependence, and that must be so hard to have to ask for things. But how do you balance that? What are the ways you try to hold on to your equality? Are there ways?
I do it because um I keep working. I
Yeah.
keep writing. Keep doing things that I just want to create. Want to help. I
Hmm.
want to be useful. And I want to be that way till I die. I just think that's why I was born is to be helpful. And so I just love the fact I still I can still talk and I can still work and that's
Yeah.
the answer. And
Yeah.
if I couldn't work, not for money, but for being a good person and being helpful, I don't know what I do. So important to me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really believe that we all need to be creative in our marriages and
Yeah.
powerful in our marriages.
Definitely.
Because when David's a jerk, I say, look off. You know, I feel like I have the power to say that lovingly, and he can say that to me too.
Yeah.
But I think we both try to be equal and nice, loving to each other. But to be equal, I don't like to be bossed around, and I have to try to maintain that power. But it's hard because I feel so guilty for being so dependent. I live with so much guilt because I love my husband. I'm so sorry for all I put him through, and I keep putting through all sorts of awful things. So I'm
I feel guilty like that too. In my new relationship, I feel like a burden already. And Jonathan, he constantly reassures me that I'm not a burden, but with all the help that I have to ask for, I mean, I just feel like that's natural, and it's tough.
That is tough. And I would think, especially in new relationships, I mean, and that's another thing I'm curious about more for Jessica and Kyle, like, because I can think of
yeah.
like, when you're starting a relationship and like, maybe it has to come out and it's obvious if you're with your walker or you're with your wheelchair.
Yep.
But if it's not obvious, like when do you introduce that idea or how do you address it in the beginning of a new relationship? It's complicated.
It
I
is complicated. And this new relationship, he has seen almost everything awful that could go wrong with MS, and he is still around. It's
That's
amazing. Like the last time our last episode, I had just had a little bit of surgery. I had this really nasty stomach bug, and with the surgery, I couldn't take a shower for a full week.
Wow.
And with this nasty stomach bug, I was getting shit all over myself.
Wow.
I couldn't get in the shower, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I'm trying to clean myself up, I was like, Jonathan, can you come help? And we had been together for 3 months, and he cleaned me up, no questions asked. So our relationship is already so healthy, and I don't know. I feel like we can withstand anything if we could do that.
intense. Yeah,
That's intense.
that's
And I met him 2 weeks ago
You did,
on
yeah.
on Zoom, and I loved him.
Yeah, just briefly, yeah.
For-
Hopefully
That's
he's watching.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
All right, total tangent. But Kyle, is your hair blue now?
It's blue.
It
very
is
blue.
blue.
All right. We can go back
It
to
looks so
relationship.
good.
It does look good.
Mm-hmm.
Love my blue hair.
So
Doesn't look
Jessica,
black.
What'd you say?
interrupted you, Kyle. I interrupted you.
I think I was 10.
Jessica, how do you maintain power in your relationship?
Ooh. Um. uh. Honesty with myself and with him. And that's honestly that. I mean, all the things are always related, but I would say like how I maintain power, quote unquote. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a conversation around the reality that I have MS, if that makes sense. I mean, I guess it is for me because, you know, he and I have a very, there's a lot of love and a lot of care between him and I, but we're not necessarily dating per se. Not to like make it sound all crazy and complicated because it's actually really not, But I mean, clear communication, me being honest with myself, continuing to make sure that I have control over my life. And I know that life is so beautiful and fragile. I learned that because of my experience with MS and, and the like, those so similar behaviors and thoughts. that keeps me in my power.
But is MS a real part of your relationship, or is just a young love and you're not at the point where you're talking about the nitty-gritty of the downsides of MS?
Yeah, we definitely have not. He knows I have MS. But in terms of like, you know, the 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 scarier sides of it, no, we haven't had that conversation. And in my opinion, we don't really need to at this moment, you know.
It's
You know what I mean?
just so good to have that open communication. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
have an option with hiding my difficulties. So, but it even when before I had all this progression, I wanted to get all that shit out on the table. Uh, like all worst case scenarios, this is what could happen.
Yeah.
Can you deal with this? Uh,
Yeah, it's hard to know when to lay that out, though.
it is. It is. I do that like right off the bat, and haven't scared off Jonathan yet. So
Yay.
yeah,
It's a great thing. Because honestly, that's definitely like a fear of mine, you know. MS is obviously an individualized experience.
yeah.
But I mean, if I was even more honest with myself, why the fuck would I want to tell this person that I am so in love with? And also, let's talk about the really terrible worst case scenario.
Mhm.
That way you can have a reason to leave me. That sounds like it.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? And I just can't.
Yeah,
And
I know what you mean.
yeah, but also, to be honest, that shit scared the, you know, who wants to, for myself, my own like survival, why would I even want to like go there? Like I can't
It's
handle it.
tough. It's tough.
So, you know, it is a lot. It's a lot. MS is obviously a lot, blah, blah, blah. And it's, you know, when it comes to him and I, he knows I have MS. It's not ignored. It's not, I wouldn't say that at all. He knows that all the work that I do surrounds MS stuff, so on and so forth. I personally don't feel like it would be helpful to sit down and have this conversation of like horrible possibilities that could happen, because the reality is it couldn't happen.
Mm,
And to me, I'm like, I'm not sure how productive that would be.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like my bad shit is already always happening.
Yeah.
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 I just want
I'm kind of like in a throuple, like it's me, Jonathan, and MS.
Come on, throuple.
I'm in a throuple.
that makes sense.
Good for you. That's
I bet you like they're gonna throw us to questions and answers soon. But I just want to say, like, I think we should talk about sex really quickly.
Let's
just,
do it.
just so we can say this, like sometimes people hear like MS and they think that your like sex life is over forever, and it's
Mhm.
not. And it's not.
Right. That's one of the things that
All right, I just want to say that.
said that is somebody has said to me like, oh, can disabled people still have sex?
Mm.
And I shot back the Dave Chappelle quote. I said, well, as Dave Chappelle once said, everybody fucks funny to somebody.
Great.
He's funny. Dave Chappelle is funny.
I love Dave.
Yes. Kevin Hart's funny too. I think I'm more of a Kevin Hart woman, but
Yeah.
Dave is too.
Yeah.
Sex is great.
Yeah.
Good for you. I mean, yeah.
No, I'm serious. Sex is really great. So that's exciting.
MS
Yeah,
has just made
I mean,
sex difficult sometimes just because I can't move my body like I did 10 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got to modify.
Exactly. But I think sometimes, like, I mean, I haven't faced the like having to modify physically, but I think modification can introduce creativity, which can be not a bad.
Oh, and it has.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember years ago, like in my
I love this.
like in my 20s, I was diagnosed when I was 26. So like 26 to let's say 30 to 31, right? That was like this moment of pretty much flailing for years and newly diagnosed stuff, my body shifting and changing. I do remember like getting tired and sex not necessarily being as enjoyable and those nuances. I knew it was because of MS stuff and anxiety stuff.
Mhm.
So, but that's kind of shifted as time has gone on. And, you know, I've just learned some things and I've as I continue to figure myself out in terms in general and in relation to MS. Sex is great and pleasure is great. Not to completely change the conversation.
No, that's
But-
related.
Like pleasure is like really important. Like you deserve to feel good. Hopefully your feel good is like a safe feel good. You know what I mean? Like you're doing things that are like healthy and conducive to all that. But it's like, no, like you're allowed pleasure. Have your great sex. Good for you.
Yeah.
I hope that you can have it or whatever things bring you joy. You deserve that joy.
Definitely.
So, yay. Sorry.
Desire or need to have compassion for each other, for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to work on that for myself. It's self-compassion, which I never, ever heard of that until recently. And so I've been reading 2 books on self-compassion. And I'm thinking that will be really help me with my MS. I have compassion. And one thing I want to do, not today, I want to have a program from which we define what MS means to you.
Yeah.
For me, I had a big discussion with my husband because I was saying to him, I think MS is my friend.
Yeah.
And he was really angry at me for saying that. We had a great discussion, anger, but a very productive discussion because he has MS, and I have MS, and he has a different type of MS. He's a spouse. So it makes sense that he would have a different word or a different relationship with MS. So and I'd love to talk to each of you about how would you call your MS. Kyle said to me he didn't get that MS, how I could say MS was my friend. Kyle, I think that's
Yeah. Oh yeah. MS
I
is
can
not my friend.
understand.
MS can go fuck itself.
Yeah. Cheers.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Nothing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
go ahead. I would love to have a whole program about what MS means to each of us and how self-compassion fits in the whole program.
Well, we definitely will have that discussion, Elizabeth, so don't you worry. But I do want to circle back to the idea of maybe the relationship that you have with yourself, and you were talking about pleasure. And so there's a question about, is it possible that you can find pleasure or feel pleasure even when you're in pain? If so, what does that look like, or how do you navigate that?
Yes, you can. I actually saw that question pop up, and my first thought was no. But actually, in my experience, yes. And for example, I love jazz, and you know, that's one way that I soothe myself, and that soothing is a type of pleasure when I am trying to like subdue the pain. So that's my answer to that. That's one way when I am feeling either emotionally or physically bad. And if I can like pull myself to like try to find some solution, I have actually found that just like center myself listening to one of my favorite albums, maybe Miles Davis or something, that has created pleasure in that moment and lowered the discomfort in some way, shape, or form.
That's so wonderful of you. And I think it shows how healthy you are. Mentally healthy. The fact that you can say jazz and other things instantly but pleasure yourself.
Thank you.
I
Great.
really am impressed.
That means a lot. I might start crying.
I
Thank
agree.
you. That's a very kind thing to say. I'm trying.
I'm God. I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Kyle, do you have
What's your answer?
more?
Thoughts?
Well, with pleasure. Sexual pleasure is kind of how I deal with pain.
Yeah. All right, let's
Oh.
stop the discussion next. I don't want to have more because it's so perfect. That answer's like perfect. Okay, Annie, you're next.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, my immediate reaction is, oh, yeah, of course they can go together. One, and I don't think one cancels out the other. Like, I don't think they're in
Mm.
opposition. I think you can be in pain, whether it's emotional and physical, and also feel joy and pleasure, physical or emotional. And it helps with the pain, but it doesn't necessarily take it away.
Some
Mhm.
of us like pain.
What,
Oh,
what
that's like pain. Stay on track, my friends.
yeah, I do think, like, I often think that living in chronic pain would be very challenging. And
Yeah.
I really have the utmost respect for people who do. And I feel really lucky that I don't live with chronic pain. I think it's really hard. And I often think about, like, would I be able to be a nice person if I was in chronic pain? I'm not sure. I think it's hard. And I really respect people who can. But I would hope that if was in chronic pain, I could still seek out pleasure and
Yeah.
joy, things that make me happy. And maybe it would be a distraction, but I don't think they would be opposites. I would think it would just, but that's what life is. We're always holding both of those things, all of those things, just in different degrees.
Yes.
So
And so,
profound
oh,
what you
my
said, Annie.
Thank you.
sorry.
Just go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, going back to what Kyle said last, I wasn't trying to shut you down. Shout out, more cheers to your comment. Some people do like pain.
Yeah, I was
What?
being a little jokey. What about us being no?
Hey, and I'm not going to silence that community at all, but what you said was very true. And so it's, it's all beautiful. So.
Yeah.
And Annie, what I want to ask you to repeat what you said, 'cause it was so profound.
Oh, I'm
So
not sure I
profound.
can. I'm not sure I'm able to. I don't know which part, but just the part of, maybe you mean about, like, that life is about holding both the pain and the pleasure
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
at the same time, and that we're always holding them, but in different degrees.
Yeah.
And with MS, up and down of MS, you
Yeah.
I find it I'm always hearing both. It depends what the day is for the
Yep.
month.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, I love hanging out with people who are, like, able to be, like, owning the pain part. Honestly,
Mm.
maybe we
Right.
laugh. Like, I love that about you, Elizabeth, that you can be like, this fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, like, pretending it's all, like, the silver linings, and they are there, the silver linings, but not that we're not, like, saying that's all that there is. Like, we got to
Right.
own the hard stuff. We got to own the pain, and we can laugh about it or we can cry
Right.
about it, but it's refreshing to be around people who own it.
We're
And you don't want to get
honest.
like stuck in it, but you got to go there.
That's why I wanted it, MS Confidential. It's to be so that we could own our sorrows, our pain, our depression, and the good part too, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think it's so important to survive MS by owning all the different parts of illness.
Absolutely. That's healthy. You said,
It's
yeah,
healthy.
that is healthy.
I agree.
I want to throw out just one last question before we wrap up, and it's kind of in line with the holding pleasure and pain at the same time. Both Jessica and Annie talk about like this push pull of wanting to be acknowledged for your mess and also wanting to hide from it, and you know, creates frustration, probably unintentional for the people who love you and care about you. And so, is there anything that people in your life can say or do, or do you even know when you're caught in that push pull situation?
That's a good question.
I feel like just
So
listen and try to understand.
Yeah.
Try.
Or
Yeah.
even just like for me, it would be like just acknowledging, like,
Hmm.
hey, I know this is like in your life and in the background and never going away. And I know it informs every decision you make. And I know it's there, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
don't
define
dismiss
you.
it.
It doesn't define you. And but it's there. It's a factor. I think just like acknowledging that out loud
Mhm.
is important.
Yeah.
I would love if more of my family members acknowledged it.
Mhm.
I think I would be a much better person,
Mm.
You're such
less
a good person.
a less neurotic person if I was more acknowledged.
Yeah. Yeah, I what all three of you are saying. For me, I think it's just like I don't need people to like suffocate me. You know what I mean? Like I don't need any of that. Like, are you
No,
okay?
in
You
fact,
have
that's like not desirable to be
yeah,
suffocated. Right?
yeah.
Right, right.
I don't I don't need that, but the acknowledgement. If I send you a link, like a big deal link, like I wrote this whole narrative and you're my parent
Hmm.
watching it.
No,
And
definitely.
then,
Right.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, just
Yes.
like me, I'm like, again, I understand it's hard. I get that, fine. But then it's like, again, the, like, like just the acknowledgement. I know it's hard. And also, I'm your daughter. And, you know, we're going to carry it together. I know it's heavy. I've been experiencing it the whole time. But I think just everything you guys said, I agree. Question, showing up, acknowledgement.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think like it's so refreshing just to be like, you know, I see you. For me, it's that really. It's like I
Yes.
see you and I get it and I know it's there and we don't have to talk about it, but I'm going to bring it up periodically just in case you want to.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Not invisible.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be as invisible. I don't
Yeah.
want MS to be the center of attention. I
Mhm.
want to talk about it 90% of the time. But I
Mhm.
want it to be visible, and I want to be visible.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It's hard to get there.
And
And acknowledgement is hard, especially from people that are close in your circle.
I think my husband wants to be visible too.
Mm.
Our friends and spouses want to be invisible.
Mm.
Invisible. That thing is visible.
Visible. That's a good point. I think to think about that other side. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Well, this has been a fabulous conversation, like I knew it would be. And I can't wait for us to do it again. So, for those of you watching, we want to say thank you to our partner with Unfixed Media and Kimberly Warner, who helps put this all together. And we will see everybody again on August 11th, which is our next episode.
Thank you.
And anytime you want to hear about a particular topic, please make sure that you get in touch with us. And you can go to unfixedmedia.com where you will find MS Confidential there. So if anybody wants to say anything at last, say goodnight. Otherwise, let's say goodnight.
I love talking to you guys. It's fun.
I love
talking to you.
Oh,
Sue.
it's a great
And
project. Happy to be
I
here.
love everything about this.
Me too.
And I'm honored to be here just to, acknowledge and observe and listen and take it all in. So I thank you all. So
Thank you.
with that, good night,
Bye.
my friends.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.